Welcome. The title of this video is Sirius the Dog Star. This is about a fixed star that if you go on YouTube, nobody really tells you anything really that is even remotely useful. To be honest with you, I am tired of all the nonsense that other people have said about any of the fixed stars. So this video I'm dedicating to my fixed star because it is Sun conjunction Sirius in my chart. I am born with this fixed star, therefore this video is personal, and I'll be able to tell you something that nobody else can tell you because nobody else knows it. So if you're new to this channel, my name is George Benner. I'm an astrologer who is an expert on the fixed stars and the asteroids. And if you'd like to know more about the asteroids and fixed stars in your chart, please feel free to consult me for a reading. With that being said, let's proceed. So this fixed star is about, if of course you have heard it here first, is about Anubis, the dog deity that is a psychopomp or a guide of the dead. Sirius is around 13 degrees of Cancer. In the second decan, Pluto rules that decan. Therefore, it's an underworld decan. If you're born with any planet conjunction Sirius within a 3-degree orbit, between 11, 12, let's say between 12 and 17 degrees of Cancer, so widest that I would use, then this video is for you. Because this particular fixed star is also conjunction with Sun in Cancer for America. The birth chart of America is Sun conjunction Sirius. Therefore, America shows you what that fixed star is about. Independence Day is the day of its birth. Therefore, the star is about independence, obviously. But how does this work? Because you often find the star as a lone wolf star. In the charts of those who have been alienated from their family, their origin, their culture, who have no origin and are dreaming of going somewhere else, being something else, something greater, something bigger. That is the American dream, to be somebody that is beyond your current station, beyond where you come from, to overcome, all on your own, without any support, without any help, to be the dream that you are looking for. That is the brightest star in the sky, Sirius. The Egyptians also used to call it the scorcher, because it marks the hottest time of the year. It's all about heat, burning you as a fire from within, because it's sparkling. It sparkles the soul, as some have said. And it's Set who kills Osiris, who then is reborn to replace Anubis as the guide through the underworld, to guide souls through the darkness, to protect them from the demonic dangers that are part of the underworld journey, the journey of individuation, the journey of healing from your past trauma. Therefore, Sirius is a benevolent star, some that is often shown in the charts of those who are artistic, who work with the subconscious, musicians, artists, therapists, healers. But Sirius is the star of pharaohs, those who are representatives of the Most High, representatives of the Egyptian pantheon under Osiris rule, because Osiris used to create the cult of the pharaohs, because a pharaoh is supposed to be a representative, an embodiment of divine consciousness ruling over its kingdom. That is what Sirius is supposed to embody. But if you have Sirius prominent in the chart, that is where you have to embody a higher consciousness. Otherwise, the planet cannot actualize itself. Otherwise, you will be blocked. And what blocks you is trauma, is the underworld journey, the demons of the past. Therefore, in order to gain the benefits of wealth, fortune, prestige, and a lot of attention that usually Sirius people get, because they get often famous, they get a lot of recognition by their peers in whatever they're doing. Every time I had a client with Sirius conjunction Mercury, they were a famous writer, recognized by either their school recognized by their journalism, like newspapers, online platforms, social media, or if it's connection with some like more famous as streamers, entertainers, or people who have their own business, their own platform, because the sun represents business. Fame and fortune is, however, only granted to those who overcome their trauma. It is not given for free. Sirius is, well, it is a marker. It announces divine success, but is a bit grandiose. That is why I say it also inflates the ego. Yeah, just it has the nature of Jupiter. It has the nature of expanding and widening and blowing up whatever it touches. Blowing up you with its heat to burn you if you are not careful. That's why also in Cancer, it's about being careful, moving carefully, not being too direct in your approach. Otherwise, you are the one to get burned. Because those who do grandiose things, it either becomes a great dream, like the American dream, or it becomes your greatest nightmare. There have been reports of people who have gone psychotic with a bad configuration of Sirius and the natal chart. We've gone crazy, we've gone insane. Because madness and genius are, of course, frighteningly close to each other. And often people who have Sirius in the chart, they seem to remember something that does not seem to have any facts in reality but are apparent or obvious. They remember a past life, over which they shouldn't have any memory of. They remember details about themselves. They're wondering who they are because they feel there's something more to them, something more to the story. And it is possible that people who have been blessed with this kind of configuration, they've done great deeds in the past, and they are now being rewarded by the Most High with the strongest and most beneficial placement that exists in all of astrology. And if that sounds narcissistic to you, I don't give a shit. Because it's connection with my sun, and success is sure to follow wherever Sirius is placed. Because Sirius is quite serious. It goes in hard. It doesn't play around with object. This is a party object. This is a crazy making, volatile explosion of energy. Wherever you see it in the chart, it just blows it up beyond proportion. That's why it can really backfire. Because fire is about creation, but also about destruction. Even though it's in Cancer, a water sign, a fiery water sign, cardinal in its quality, to move on its feeling. But the feeling of Sirius is a bit too strong, like a liquor that you can't hold, like a drink that you drank a little bit too much of, like a high you can't get away from. That's Sirius the dog star. It's enticing, it's tempting, and frightening, because if you go in a bit too hard, you lose yourself in the forest of your own dreams. Because it blows up your own subconscious, expands it so wildly, you don't even know what you're playing with. So therefore, you don't know how you gain that success. You don't know where you come from. You can't relate to the people around you. You can't relate to your culture. You can't relate to your homeland. You're only relating to the dream. And that is the American dream. Because America has no origin. An American is to be a fiction. There's no such thing as an American. Therefore, there's no such thing as whatever you are trying to ascribe Sirius to. It goes beyond regular definition. And yet, success is guaranteed. How does it work? Psychotic? Delusional? Or knowing something that you don't know? Being something that you want to be, but you're too terrified to become. So that is Sirius in a nutshell. And that scorcher, that sparkler, is about guardians, sentinels, protectors of tombs, like the dogs and the hyenas, like Anubis, guarding the threshold. Cerberus in the underworld, the dog that keeps the demons out and keeps the good stuff in. To protect you against evil is to be an authority, is to be a shepherd, Sirius the big dog is a metaphor for the shepherd who guides the sheep back to their home, back to safety, back to where they belong. Where they belong. Because Americans don't belong to England, even if that's where they're coming from. They don't belong to Ireland. They belong to wherever they try to go, or whatever they want to earn. And so they have achieved it. America is a reality. The biggest, most powerful country in the world, whether you like it or not. And it represents the Most High, because it represents the rebirth after his own destruction, which is Osiris. He's been cut into 1,000 pieces, betrayed by his brother, and then resurrected by the high priestess, Isis, by the Ankh, which is why I am wearing the Ankh. So therefore, the Ankh is now my symbol, because I have Sun conjunction Sirius, and it's my birthday tomorrow. As I'm making this video on the new moon in Cancer, which is conjunction Sirius, one day before the new moon in 2024. So on the 5th of July 2024, there will be a conjunction between Sirius, the moon, and the sun at the same time, around 13 degrees to 14 degrees of Cancer. What is it about? Does it mark a new beginning for success? A new relationship? A new gift? A new business? What is it? What is it about? Well, first of all, it's about the story. The story of those who have been cut into 1,000 pieces and who had to put themselves back together again as a lone wolf. Therefore, I ascribe more like a wolf to Sirius than a dog. Yes, the shepherd is a great animal, but it's ultimately a lone wolf. The wolf is associated with the moon, with its howling, like werewolves, like lunatics, who are taken over by subconscious forces. Therefore, those subconscious forces are volatile as fuck. That is why there is a tendency to go crazy, to have a lot of anger, a lot of fire that burns you from within, which is why many people who have Sirius in a configuration that is prominent in the chart, they often have inflammatory disorders, eczema, inflammatory bowels, oversensitive nervous system that react to every tiny little thing as a precursor to spiritual gifts, psychic powers. Also, psychic powers come with a risk that if you sense too much, you have to deal with it. That is why you have to learn what they call wisdom. Of course, wisdom is necessary to contain the powers of Cancer. The powers are the most highest to be unlocked when Sirius is conjunction the sun, moon, rising. Because its powers have been known to create great musicians, famous people, people who are very successful at what they do. It seems success is at their every turn and they get a lot of recognition. But they are lonely, often isolated from their peers. It seems like nobody can really relate to them because they are apparently out of everybody's league. If you look at, for example, Michael Jordan, has a prominent Sirius in his chart, conjunction with Sun or Ascendant. That means that he was so large, so successful, nobody could really compare. He didn't have any competition. And he created the Jordan brand of shoes. And those shoes are also representative of Sirius. That is why you often find people who have Sirius prominent in the chart, they are surrounded by Sirius symbolism that we're not even aware of. Whether it's pieces of clothing, an Ankh, or certain shoes that you're wearing, you have no idea that it is Sirius that you're looking at. A great brand with big shoes that need to be filled by big people. That is why basketball is usually won by big people. For the Sirius big dog. And Sirius is also a derivative for the word sir. To be a sir is to be above everybody else's station, to be an authority, to be somebody that is capable of guiding others, assisting others, helping others spiritually, helping others see things that they themselves cannot see to lead them towards success. But that's difficult, because if you see something that nobody else can see, it's very isolating, unless somebody has done a lot of research. That's why often you find prodigies, people who are unusually successful, that of course they are alienated. I often have made friends in the past, mostly with people who have been without any friends, who have been isolated themselves because people thought they were arrogant. Oh, this person thinks they're better than everybody else. I don't want to be friends with this person. So people stood away from them. There was often jealousy involved, people trying to make enemies with somebody who they think believes to be better than them. And often serious people have a lot of hatred for their culture, their peers, their parents, their family. And that hatred often fuels them towards great success, because they want to separate and cut ties with the past. The past is all pervasive. Your body, your trauma, your nervous system, everything is affected by the past. And the dung beetle, which is cancer, is digging all of that up. And Sirius takes it out to burn through it. But burning through it means to reap the gold in the underworld that we find there after we do a lot of shadow work, a lot of cleansing. So what else do we know about Sirius? Well, me personally, I always felt like success comes a bit too easy. It's a bit suspicious. And I'm not saying this arrogantly, of course, the arrogant projections again would come if I ever said anything like this to anybody. So most of the time, serious people don't really talk about their success. They get recognized, but they can't really share much about themselves, because if they do, they attract jealousy, envy, and projections like crazy. Because of course people can't relate. How can you relate to somebody who's just succeeding without even trying, while you have to try so hard and you just can't get it done? Of course it attracts jealousy. Who is this person? Why are they so gifted? What is their trick? What game are they playing? People always assume the worst where you see the best. That is why Sirius is also quite a dangerous aspect to have. Of course, the British tried to prevent America from going independent. They tried to control them, to treat them as a colony. They didn't want America to be its own nation. Therefore, if you're Sirius prominent in the chart, people don't want you to be yourself wherever you have Sirius placed. Because being yourself is an object of heat. It either sparkles the imagination, fascinates, attracts, or it does the opposite. It's an extremely polarizing object in astrology. Therefore, serious people are very polarizing. And if you want to master this fixed star, you have to accept the fact that people are not going to like you if you are indeed successful. It's just not going to happen. But you might just be the one who's invited to parties, who's recognized as a person of importance, like you have something valuable to share that maybe is better than what people are used to. Therefore, people will come to you to give you gifts, to give you attention, to give you a platform. And that actually puts a lot of pressure on you. And a lot of serious people, from what I've seen, they try to escape that pressure, try to isolate themselves, to really live a life alone, so they don't have to deal with other people, because it seems that every time they are in the eyes of others, the pressure is on. Expectations, pedestals, people trying to tell them what to do, and a lot of conflicts of authorities. That's very typical for Sirius. Of course, just like America had a conflict with the British, Sirius people have a conflict with any authority that they meet, so it's very dangerous actually. It's an indicator that authorities are coming after you. They don't like you because they know that you are trouble, because you are an authority. But They don't want to lose their authority. Those who are demonically controlled, those who are part of a system. Because Sirius represents something ancient, something old, something timeless. The Egyptians used to create pharaohs to be priests and kings at the same time. Just like the Pope, who's in charge of everything, Sirius is in charge of everything themselves in their life, in their own kingdom, their own home. That is why Sirius people are often providers, guardians of homes, protectors, caretakers. And of course, Sirius represents people who are a little bit too ambitious for their own good, who are so much trouble that people would rather put them in a box, try to prevent opportunities for them, or test them, challenge them. So if a serious person messes up or fails at something, it's gonna haunt them. Because it makes them think, oh no, now that I slipped up, now the precious pedestal that I've been put on is smashed into pieces. Of course, that's what happened to Osiris. He didn't see the knife coming. He didn't see the betrayal that was sure to follow, to cut him into 1,000 pieces and spread him across the desert. That is why actually I used to be somebody who created identity reconstruction therapy. It's a therapy modality that I created because I found that many of my clients are coming from a very traumatic background in which their identity has been destroyed because they have been disconnected from their feelings. I have had clients who have alexithymia, the inability to feel, or avoidant attachment style, or anger problems, inability to really follow their own desires, inability to be independent. Therefore, you often find that Sirius is also an indicator of avoidant attachment style or emotional unavailability and neglect in the person's family, the person's home. As fortunate as the star is, it is often people who grow up in the ghetto or in extremely ridiculously neglectful environments. Of course, it's in Cancer, in the Pluto decan. Therefore, you have to go through the test of Pluto if you want to get the benefits of the big dog, Cerberus. A three-headed dog. 3 heads, just like Hecate, just like the 3 phases of the moon, just like the Trinity of Father, Mother, and Son. Or daughter, if you're a feminist. Because it represents the ability to unify all the different traits of Sirius, which is Osiris, which is the father, Isis, which is the mother of a virgin goddess who gave birth to Horus without even being pregnant, except by magic. She used magic to be pregnant, to give birth to the Messiah, which of course is a blueprint for the Christian story. Therefore, Sirius represents Christ consciousness. That is why it is often very prominent in the charts of people who go through a lot of awakening, enlightenment experiences, or something that is supernatural and unusual. Communication with ghosts, with spirits, with demonic entities, and forces that are invisible. It's typical here for Sirius because it's a psychic indicator in the chart, the most psychic indicator that exists in astrology, believe it or not. It's more psychic than Neptune, more psychic than Pluto, more psychic than Jupiter in the 12th house in Pisces conjunction with the Sun, more psychic than anything else because it's about the ability to sniff danger, like a dog. It can see the danger coming, can see the evil around your doorstep, the devil knocking at your door, and it wants to sniff it out. Therefore, the senses are very strong with Sirius. And where you have a strong sense, you cannot unsee what you see. You have to act on it. That means you have a responsibility. Because if you can see that your kingdom is being threatened by evil invaders, if you don't do anything about it, you are responsible. Therefore, serious people, they take on a lot of responsibility. And they grow up in families where they have to play the parent for somebody else, where they have to play the mother for somebody. Anubis is a guide of the dead. He protects people to make sure they come to reach the other side. What is the other side? Emotional regulation, perhaps. Happiness, enlightenment, awakening, liberation from suffering. What is the other side? Relief, perhaps, from your guilt, from your sins, which is regret. Regrets of what? Of the mistakes that you've made. So now you have to take responsibility. On Judgment Day, the trumpet. And the trumpet is just an example of the energy that you see when Osiris feeds people's soul to the crocodile. And in Mayan astrology, the crocodile represents Cancer. People who are born under Cancer are represented by the crocodile, by the turtle, by the dung beetle, by the scarab, by the big dog. These are all the animals of Cancer. And of course you didn't know that. That's why you're watching this video. Because you know the unusual knowledge, which is the truth, that you do not yet know, is the domain of Sirius. That is why I'm making this video, to give you an example of what that looks like. To give you an example of the unusual knowledge that you have access to. The unusual abilities, the unusual talents, the unusual skills that are often unrecognized by your peers. Because they don't know what they're looking at. Because it's above them. Oh no. The jealousy, the projections, the isolation, the alienation, the am I a narcissist? Or are people really that crazy? Yes, people are that crazy. When they look at Sirius, they look at something, like I said, it sparkles. It's the brightest star in the sky. I mean, what do you expect? Did you really expect anything less? No, you didn't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't understand that Sirius is quite serious. Yeah, it's not playing around with object in astrology. Sir, Anubis, Osiris, the most high of the deities that take on the responsibility and duty of guarding the shepherd, dog, guarding the sheep, guiding them back to safety. To safety means to reality. Reality is what? The truth. Truth is what? Justice. Justice means that your heart is as light as a feather because you didn't do anything wrong. But if you did do something wrong, you took responsibility for it. Which of course is the negation of the said wrong. Therefore, it is also representing atonement. Yeah, to atone for your sins, to make up for your sins, to undo the damage, to heal, to be restored, to be reborn by the Ankh, by Isis, the high priestess. The high priestess represents the psychopomp within man, the mother within, the one who guides you through the underworld to heal, to come back to life after you've been dead. In the freeze response, to be frozen is to be in stasis, to be taken out. To be in the desert, to be starving for connection, starving for the mother's tits, to starve for the fertility of the Nile. Which is why the Egyptians used to use Osiris, which is Sirius, as a marker for the most fertile season, which is also the hottest season. Heat, fertility, and prosperity. They were all the same thing to the Egyptians. And of course, this also means that it is heat that is often a big problem for serious people. Whether it's the heat of their own personality, which attracts heat on the outside, attracts attacks, gossip, smear campaigns, people trying to take you down, jealous people, people trying to take what you have because it's the fruit, it's the fertility of the Nile. Everybody wants it. Nobody gets it, except a few who do the work. And if you have Sirius in the chart, it definitely announces that you're doing the work. So therefore, it's a very positive indicator And you're not getting the benefits without doing the work, that's for sure. But it doesn't guarantee success. It only guarantees the fertile ground upon which you can build it. If you actually build it, it's still up to you. So, can you actualize it? Are you actually living the dream? Are you working on the dream, visualizing the dream, creating the dream? Because if you're not, you're really missing out. If you have Sirius in the natal chart and you're not creating the dream version of that placement, what are you doing with your life? Throwing away the best placement in astrology? Bad idea. The best placement. If you can't do well with the best placement in astrology, nobody can help you. The responsibility is yours. Understood? Understand why responsibility is such a big theme of this fixed star? Because if you get everything handed to you, if your ass is being pampered, not by the environment, no, by yourself, your own skills, and you're not using them, it's on you. Of course. So if you're whether you're 2 feet tall, or very smart like moi, or you're psychic, or you have some kind of abilities or talents or skills, and you're doing nothing, misery loves company. Which is why you're gonna attract narcissists, psychopaths, critters of any and all kind, when you don't recognize yourself as within, so without. So therefore, Sirius can represent either the best dream or the worst nightmare. And don't make a mistake. This is polarity. This is duality we're dealing with here. Any fixed star has a dark side, even the brightest one. So hopefully, this video will help you to understand this fixed star a little bit better, to actualize its potential. If you like to know more about other fixed stars, asteroids, other objects, feel free to have a consultation. If you like me to look at your chart and tell you what the chart of yours is telling you, feel free to reach out. The services are in my description down below. If you're interested in more videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.